Hey guys, welcome back. I know I took a couple weeks off, but I'm excited to be back here. I'm Chantel, this is Intentional Homeschooling, and today we're going to talk about the idea of merging both the Charlotte Mason method and unschooling and creating what to me is the perfect homeschool method for our family. So I took a couple weeks off working on some things behind the scenes. Our foster kids unexpectedly came back. Lots of life has happened. For the rest of the summer, I'm going to be doing a video and probably continuing to put this up as a podcast as well, if there's enough interest. We'll see. It's definitely going to be on video every other week, and then I'm toying with the idea, now that our foster kids are back, of bringing back my personal channel, but I also do have a BOOKTUBE channel, and how many channels does one person need? I don't know, maybe it's 3, I'm not sure. So every other week here for sure through the rest of the summer. Take things a little easier, maybe put some stuff on another channel. We'll see. So I've been planning our next school year, thinking about it, dreaming about it, making lists, all the things. And the other day it dawned on me that I think my natural tendency is unschooling. That's how I teach myself. That's like the natural way whenever we try something different. That's just the way I slip into, is unschooling. But I am a Charlotte Mason wannabe, and we do have certain things that are very Charlotte Mason-esque, and I think it's because of my personality, and we'll talk about those different things here right away. But I feel like I'm always warring with this, wanting to be a Charlotte Mason person, but actually being an unschooling person. And I just realized, well, what if I'm intentional about doing both? I mean, it's weird because Charlotte Mason homeschoolers are very Charlotte Mason and they love her and they're gung-ho. And unschoolers, they're their own kind of people doing their own thing and they're also really gung-ho. But I'm gonna try it. We'll see how this goes. Before we even started homeschooling, I was following an Instagrammer who started homeschooling her girls. They're a few years older than my kids, and she followed the Charlotte Mason method. I loved the pictures, I loved the nature study. And the books, I mean, guys, the books. There was so much I loved about it, and I thought I knew that's exactly what I wanted to do. But then when it came to actually homeschooling, I realized it just doesn't work so well for my personality. And with unschooling, there is so many things I like about it, but it often lacks that coming together as a family that I really want from our homeschool. Hence why I'm going to merge this. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the Charlotte Mason method, some of my favorite resources, what I all love about it, kind of what we're going to pull from it, and how it's going to look in our homeschool in general. And then I'm going to talk about unschooling and what we're going to pull from unschooling and how that's going to look. Before we continue to dive in, if you guys have not subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to do so. I don't ask for this in every video because, I don't know, I don't want to always sound like a broken record. I want us to come together like we're friends. I'm just talking about my homeschool, sharing what works and what doesn't. But today, since it's been a while since I've been here, I would love for you to click the subscribe button. That really helps me out. Okay, Charlotte Mason. I already said one of the reasons I want to do it is because I want us to have some time together. And so my plan in general is to do one Charlotte Mason method lesson per day. Now, she said her lessons were supposed to be 15 to 20 minutes in the younger years. My daughter's going into grade 8. We're still just gonna go with that. We're gonna do one 15 to 20 minute lesson per day together, and then the rest of our day is gonna be kind of unschooling. Like I said, there's lots I love about the Charlotte Mason method. 2 of my favorite resources are Ambleside online. It's all free. They have pretty much an entire year laid out for you in many ways, especially if you're American, because they have a lot of American history and it's very American based. But as a Canadian, there's a lot that I pull from there, that I can pull from there, and then we just ignore some things that maybe aren't as applicable. Per homeschool life, I had an interruption and I have that squirrel brain that struggles with remembering where I was at even. Let's talk about books because that's always a good spot to start. I love reading books, hence why I have a whole YouTube channel about it. And that is a big focus in our homeschool. So that is kind of how we are fairly naturally kind of Charlotte Mason-y, because her whole philosophy revolves a lot around good books, living books, and I'm all for that. So we're gonna be doing some reading together, which we always do, and I'm in the process of making lists for my kids. I think my next video in 2 weeks will be my 5th graders list of books, and I'm not sure yet. You guys can maybe weigh in. Do you want the entire list of books? I was thinking of making 2 kind of lists for him. One is like books I'd really like you to get to, and then the second one is like more books in case you have more time. I was thinking about doing that for my going to be 5th grader and going to be 8th grader, so I would love to hear, do you want the entire list or just the short list? Or I could do 2 videos each. One starting with a short list of what I think are really good books, and then more books if you have time. So we're gonna be doing lots of reading together on our own. That's gonna happen whether we are Charlotte Mason homeschooling or not. And then my whole goal with these short little lessons is spreading a feast. My daughter knows very much what she's interested in. She's very specific with her interests. She's pretty gung-ho, going hard on them. My son just needs a little bit more exposure. I think he knows some things he's interested in, but not enough yet. And so I think these lessons will be good family time together, but also just good exposure to different topics and possibly interesting topics to him. Oh yes, I was talking about Ambleside. See? It's coming back now. Ambleside is one of my favorite resources. That's where I was at. And I do get some good book recommendations from there. And then my other Charlotte Mason specific resource that I like is the Charlotte Mason Companion. Now, it is kind of funny because Charlotte Mason is like this homeschool method, and she was a teacher. She was not married, didn't have children, worked in a school, a very different school environment, but we've created this homeschool philosophy because of this woman who taught in a school. It just cracks me up. I don't know why. So she wrote like numerous books, and I have started reading them like years ago. The one on physical education is pretty funny because I think she was kind of like the early 1900s, and so some of the nutrition and physical fitness things were a little dated. Probably great information for the time, but definitely now dated. So instead of reading those books, because I'm not totally into Charlotte Mason, this isn't the only thing we're doing, I have found this Charlotte Mason Companion by Karen Andriola. I've had it for years, and I'm currently going through it again, not completely reading it, just picking chapters here and there, and I found it to be a good summary of Charlotte Mason's philosophies and different things that I want to pull from. So that's another resource I would recommend for Charlotte Mason. Those two, between this and Ambleside Online, that's pretty much what I'm going to be using. Another thing that Charlotte Mason was really into is the idea of no homework, which sounds good to me. And so my plan with our 15 to 20 minute lesson is not to give homework. I'm hoping just to like cram their brains with really good information that they can think about and maybe do things on their own with afterwards, but not have a specific requirement that something that I'm requiring from them. So that's another thing we're going to pull from the Charlotte Mason method. So how we're going to be incorporating the Charlotte Mason method, I said we're going to do a 15 to 20 minute lesson each day that we do school, which is usually 4 days a week. And we're going to be doing this via loop scheduling. So Julie Crakey from Jason and Julie, she was one of our speakers at the homeschool summit that we had last month, and she said something in her video about their loop scheduling, which I've known about loop scheduling before, we've done it before, but something clicked in her talk, and I was like, that's what we're gonna do. That's what I need to do. So I'm gonna be making a list using Ambleside Online. I'm gonna be using their artist. They break it down by term. So we're gonna study the artist that they have, the composer they have. We're gonna be doing different things like nature study, poetry, etc. I'm gonna do a whole video on our loop schedule because I don't have it finalized yet. But one of the things I'm going to be doing is making sure that the things that I want in there more frequently, we're gonna have in there more frequently. And so it's not just gonna be a loop of like 5 subjects and we just do each subject once and rotate. Some of them that I want in there more are gonna be in there more, but more on that to come. I'm going to spend some time really figuring that out, but I'm looking forward to it because I think that's gonna work really well. And then we're also gonna be weird and loop math. Now, if you've been around my channel for a while, we don't do math. Everyone's always like, oh yeah, we unschool except math, or we do this except math. And we have pretty much completely unschooled math until now. There's been some times where my kids have shown some interest, and so we've done a little bit, which is what unschooling is. But I think we're gonna add math into the loop and just talk about a different topic each time. We'll see how this all goes. I'm curious. Okay, so that gives you a little bit of the Charlotte Mason side of our homeschool in the fall. Now let's talk about unschooling. So there's so much I love about unschooling. As someone that always has a million projects on the go, I mean, 3 YouTube channels kind of shows you right there. It just works for my personality. If I had to stick to a curriculum for myself or for my kids, that would give me less time to work on my projects, and I think it would kill a lot of the creativity. And I think unschooling is really good at encouraging creativity because it gives you lots of time to be bored. I have 2 favorite resources for unschooling as well. One is an ebook. It is called The Unschooling Manifesto. Totally blanked for a minute. I've read this book through at least 3 times, and we're going to be reading it in my homeschool membership in August. So if you want to join us, please do. It's so inspiring. I always come away with just feeling like relaxed after reading that book. So there's that one. And then there's like a homeschool family on YouTube that have a different set of religious beliefs, but I follow their channel, enjoy it. They have 2 videos about unschooling that are very helpful. So the channel is Norp and South, and they had a video a few years ago about unschooling, and man, did that fire me up. And then they had another one come out, I think at the beginning of this year, which was kind of just shared a little bit more about it. They have a ton of kids, and like some of them are graduated, so I feel like they're farther down the journey, the road, and so you can say, hey, this actually does work, and that can always be encouraging. So those are my 2 favorite resources, an unschooling manifesto and their 2 videos. I will leave all those resources linked below as well. So with our unschooling time, which is all our time other than our 20-ish minutes spent together, I'm hoping my kids will, maybe explore the topic of the day that we've talked about a little bit more, dive into their interests. So like I said, my daughter is really big into writing, is actually her thing. She has created a website about sharing her writing journey. She wants it to be a community for writers. So if you have kids that are interested in writing, I will leave her channel linked, or her blog linked below, because that would be an encouragement to her to know that people were reading it, and she would love to do some kind of like community building aspect around writing at some point. Earlier this spring, we got her to independently publish a book. I mean, she wanted to do it. We didn't get her to do it. She wrote a story. I helped her edit it. She worked on the cover, and it can now be purchased from Amazon. And she's had a number of sales, and this girl is just over the moon because this is what she wants to do with her life. She wants to write, and she wants to talk about writing with other people that want to write. And she's 12. So I feel like we're having a good start with her, and unschooling will really help her have the time to continue to explore these interests. I'm not really worried about unschooling with her. It's a piece of cake. It's because she loves her interests so much that I want to do the Charlotte Mason like come together a bit, because she's very much like me. She could just hole up in her room for days on end working on her project, and I'm the same way, and I know I want us to come together, so hence why we're doing both here. And I do like the emphasis on creativity that comes with unschooling. I think Charlotte Mason has that as well, but I want my son to be able to explore different interests. He just turned 10, so he's still got lots of time. He does have interests. I want him to just kind of dive a little deeper. I want us to live a little bit more slow and seasonal, and I think that unschooling gives you that time and space to do so, because you're not having a bunch of boxes to check. We're gonna check that 15 to 20 minute box, and then we're done for the day, and we can live a slower, more seasonal, more relaxed home life. That's kind of what I'm aiming for. All in all, I think that both the Charlotte Mason method and unschooling, and then combining the 2, will help us as a family, my kids individually, be able to use the gifts that God has given them, and then be able to know earlier in life than I did how they can best use these gifts in the future as adults out in the world, and I really want to give them the time and space to be able to explore that, and I think this is what's going to work for us in this season. That all being said, we currently do have a will be 3 in the fall and will be 5 in the fall foster kids that came back to us, and I think the 5-year-old will be going to school every other day because technically you're not supposed to homeschool foster kids here. I'm not sure if we'll get special permission or not, but I'm assuming he's going to be going to school in the fall, and then we'll just work on, you know, like the alphabet and numbers and all that kind of stuff with both of them a little bit here and there, but I'm not going to be as intensely focused on them, unfortunately, as I was with my other kids during that age, because they will be doing like outside school stuff. I still will. We still are learning the alphabet, learning our numbers, etc. But it is different when you know they're gone for 50% of the daytime during school. So there's also that aspect, and I think that aspect is what's making me want a little bit more family time and a little bit more free time. So, curious to hear what you think of my idea of merging both the Charlotte Mason method and the unschooling method. Would this work for you? Do you feel that warring inside of you that I do? Like 2 different methods and philosophies kind of tugging on each other? I would love to hear about it. Leave some comments below and let's just chat about homeschooling.